So it's Labor Day weekend. We're celebrating the gift of work. And here at Cross Life, we've been working on joining Jesus on his mission. It's been our series the last few Sundays. So here's where we've been in the Joining Jesus on his mission series. We have clarified our identity as forgiven followers of Jesus Christ. We've clarified our purpose that God has given to us, that Jesus has given to us, to love Jesus and to love others, specifically loving them enough to invite them and introduce them to Jesus and invite them to church. Then we've come to realize that as we think about doing those things, we're not ever first on the scene when we invite others and we talk to them about Jesus, because Jesus is so busy taking people on roller coasters or helping them play video games or keeping them safe on a train. He's involved in their lives. And so Jesus is on the scene in someone else's life even before we get there. Right? So he gives you a place to engage. He gives your words a place to land in people's lives. As I think about work and the weekend and just connecting with people's lives, I asked myself, how many people connected with me this past week? And actually, over just only a period of a few days as I was preparing the sermon, how many people connected with me because of their work? Real interesting. So my dry cleaner, Sonny, whose name matches their personality, my neighbor, Steve, who's out of work and looking for a job and career direction, a local artist named Joey. She's going to paint Bible verses on some artwork for us here at Cross Life. A law enforcement officer named Elsie. No, Kara did not get pulled over. This is Officer Elsie was here for the school this week, just for extra safety. So, my paths crossed their paths this week. Not to mention all of the fine folks who smile for the 3,030th time that day, and they're patient with me as they hand me my prescriptions or brew me an Americano with extra cream, or scan my groceries at H-E-B, right? All those other people, think of all the people whose paths you cross every week. It's amazing. Jesus puts people in our lives. Why? Well, maybe they need you, or maybe you need them, maybe both, I don't know. But I do know this is for certain. They need Jesus. 100% of the people in your life need Jesus. Whether they're believers or not, they still need Jesus, right? 100% of the people who cross your path need Jesus. That's for sure. Number two, I can tell you this for sure. Jesus wants you to introduce them to him. That's what's certain. So how's that going? How's that going, joining Jesus on his mission? I hope you're improving after the last few weeks of this series. I hope you improve some more. I want to improve some more. But I got to ask you this question. Is joining Jesus on his mission, is it like a helpful and healthy project that you have on the list, and also on that list is eating more greens? Spinach, kale, broccoli, good stuff. Okay? But you're not eating more greens right now. Why? It's not like it's screaming at you. You can, eat everything else and just be fine. And you can always start that later. How about another helpful and healthy project that maybe is on your list? Maybe eating greens, joining Jesus on his mission, and learning a foreign language. That's on your helpful and healthy project. Great idea. Learn a foreign language. You can communicate better with your cousins or your mother-in-law or your local friends and neighbors. Learn a foreign language, but you've not done that yet. Why? Well, it's a good thing, but it's so complicated. And I'm just so busy surviving. I can survive just fine without learning that language, so no, I'm not going to do it. Here's what my coach asked me when I talk to him about things that are on my healthy and helpful project list, but I haven't done them. And he asked me a very good question. It's a very good coaching question. It's not a leading question. It's a very honest question. And it's just this. Darren, is this still important to you? It's a good question. If 3 or 4 or 6 or 9 months after I told him that I want to eat more greens, I haven't eaten more greens. Darren, is this still important to you? Because if it's not important to you, just take it off your helpful and healthy project list. That's okay. Just take it off. But normally if I put it on there and I think about it, yeah, I have to be honest and say it's important to me. And then my coach asked this question. Good coaches ask good questions. Then why are you stalling? And I say, I'm not stalling. He says, yep, you're stalling. So why are you stalling when it comes to being better at joining Jesus on his mission? Right? It's one of those healthy and helpful projects. It can feel so complicated. We tend to gravitate toward things in life that are easier, like scrolling through social media. That's easy. But talking to someone about Jesus, that's complicated. I don't want to do it. We're so busy surviving and not thriving, we don't prioritize it. And so it doesn't happen. We stall. Now, if your dental hygienist has told you that you need to floss more, and that hasn't been a priority on your helpful and healthy project list, I have 2 words for you. Stop stalling. Now, Jesus told you, Trish, I heard you there. She's our local dental hygienist. If Jesus tells you, I am putting people in your life so that you join me on my mission and that you introduce them to me, and it's on your helpful and healthy project list and you've not yet improved or taken next steps, I also have 2 words for you. Stop sinning. Okay, is it a sin not to floss? I hope not. Is it a sin to not be on mission with Jesus? It is. So, is this important to you? It better be, because it's important to Jesus. And if you're a Jesus follower, then it's going to be important to you too. And what Jesus does here is he reminds us about the importance of being on mission with him and sharing him with others. And here's what's important about it. Jesus tells us and shows us and actually lives for us in this way that's it's about people. Okay, being on mission with Jesus is about people. Real stories, real souls, real salvation. Changing people's lives. And salvation is not a project. And I'm talking about a list of projects and everything, and great, put things on there, but salvation is more than that. Salvation is people. People. You know, Jesus believes that so much that when it came to God's plan of salvation, for Jesus to save you, what did he do? He became a person. Salvation, Christianity is based on a person. Other world religions are not based on a person. They're based on a philosophy, on rule keeping. Okay, so Christianity is entirely different than all those other religions because it's based on one single person, Jesus Christ. But I'm making the point that for salvation, Jesus became a people, a person, a human being. Now the problem, you're complicated. You're not easy to deal with when it comes to salvation. I mean, you're a mess. Let's be honest. So am I. But Jesus didn't shy away from the complicated. He loved you enough to become a person and to do something that's really, really complicated, to be crucified, to die. And when he did, all of your messes and mistakes of joining him on his mission, all of your stalling, all of it was forgiven. It was paid for by Jesus not stalling, by Jesus taking action and dying for you. And so all that was paid for, it's all gone. All your lame excuses, they don't exist anymore. Well, they do because you make them, but they're not in control. They're not in charge. And so your new life in Jesus Christ is in charge now. That's what's in charge. Your new life in Jesus Christ Your excuses aren't in charge. They can't control you. Don't let them. But your new life in Jesus Christ is in charge. You're on mission with Jesus, and he's not giving up on you or on the people that he wants to put in your path in life. All right, I want to tell you about a guy named Pete. Pete has rock solid faith. Pete loves Jesus. He's a follower of Jesus. He's a Christian. But Pete had failed. And here's how he had failed. Though he's a rock-solid Christian, he wants to practice his faith, and he's well known as a strong Christian, there was a moment. And the moment was when he failed. And the moment was when Jesus intersected Pete with other people wanting him to tell people about Jesus, and he just caved. It felt too complicated. He was driven by fear rather than faith. He compromised his love for Jesus and for others. He actually started cursing Jesus in the middle of this crowd, trying to make it seem like he was fitting into the rest of them who were cursing Jesus. And at that moment, Jesus approached. And Jesus heard what Pete was saying. Some of you maybe know him. His real name is Simon Peter. And this is when Jesus was on trial, and then Simon Peter was in the courtyard, and he was approached by a girl. Not a Pharisee, not a Roman soldier, a girl, asking about his faith. And he didn't join Jesus on that mission right there. He failed. And the look that Jesus gave him was a look not of anger or disappointment or judgment, but of compassion, of concern, of forgiveness, of mercy, of understanding. And if Peter was looking enough in Jesus' eyes, he would have seen it was also a look of a second chance, as in, Peter, I'll be back. Remember, he was going to die, right? Peter, I'll be back. I'm going to rise from the dead. And you're going to be back too. And I'm going to give you another chance. And Jesus loves giving you another chance. And that's what he did. I read some words earlier today from John chapter 21. Jesus then, about almost 2 months later, after Jesus died and then he rose from the dead, and then he appeared to Peter. Sorry, it was sooner than 2 months. He appeared to Peter on the shoreline, and he had these words for Peter. Peter, do you love me? Peter said, yeah, I know you. I love you. He said, then go feed my sheep. Second chance. Jesus loved Peter enough to put him in the ministry. And then here's what happened. Peter stepped up. Like, this was 2 months later when Peter stepped up and he went out and he talked to crowds and he was preaching. He was out there with other disciples, other of his fisherman buddies, one of them named John. And so they were talking to a crowd now that Peter stepped up. He learned. He had a second chance. And I'm going to read you these words from the Bible. These are words that Peter and John said to the crowd, and then it has what the crowd's reaction. So Peter and John said this: "Salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved." They saw the courage of Peter and John and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men. All right, so let's break this down a little bit, okay? So here's the verse. What's the work of Jesus called? First word, salvation. The work of Jesus called salvation. Who can do the work of salvation? Who can make it happen? Who's responsible for it? Who's driving the bus? Who's in charge of salvation? Whose work is it? No one else except Jesus. Not you, not me. That's not our job. Work of salvation is Jesus' job. No one else. Who's it for? Mankind. All of mankind. Salvation is for all y'all and everyone in the world, and me and you. All right, salvation is for all mankind. What happens when you have salvation? You're saved. Saved from what? Anger, anxiety, depression, feeling like a failure, guilt, feeling alone, loneliness, shame, being a victim, injustice, saved from all that. Wow. So that salvation, that's how it works. Now, is salvation complicated work? Yes or no? Is salvation, the work of Jesus that I just told you, complicated work? It could go either way. I think if you say he's God and he can do anything, it's really easy, okay. But if you and I were to do it, it would be complicated, right? So I'm going to say it's complicated work because it's so involved in so many people. Jesus does it. That's why you and I think that witnessing to others is complicated, because we're trying to do Jesus' work. And Jesus' work is complicated. But that's not our work to do. Right? So it's really not complicated. It focuses on people. And I said before, salvation itself, Jesus became a person. Salvation focuses on people. So it's in these words. So even here in the Bible, where it's reporting this work of Peter and John, and Jesus is doing his work, and they're doing their work, they're connecting with people, the Bible sees these two fishermen, disciples, followers of Jesus, as people. It gives them personal names. It tells us their personal names, right? Personal. Peter and John. And then it gives us personal descriptions of Peter and John, like their profiles. You find them on Facebook, this is what you'd find, that they're unschooled, ordinary. These are not superstars. They're unschooled, ordinary. And it says the personal results that took place because they were witnessing to Jesus. There was a personal response, right? The crowd saw the courage of Peter and John. The crowd realized, and they're taking a step closer to Jesus. So we make the mission of Jesus complicated when we try to do Jesus' work. So just uncomplicate it by saying, I don't have to do Jesus' work. Jesus does Jesus' work. I don't have to do salvation. Jesus does salvation. I just need to connect with people. So here's some ideas. How about we just be ourselves? How about we just be ordinary? And when we do, we look for regular opportunities that Jesus gives to us every day at HEB. Bumping into someone's cart at HEB, maybe on purpose, to tell them about Jesus. I just heard a story about that coming in today. It's amazing. All right, there's so many opportunities. Dry cleaner, my neighbor, and just keep it simple. Okay, keep it simple. You don't have to know all the answers about religion to join Jesus on his mission. That's Jesus' job. You don't have to memorize a bunch of Bible verses to join Jesus on his mission. You don't have to recite the Athanasian Creed in Latin, backwards, standing on your head, to join Jesus on his mission. You don't have to deliver your own testimony if you don't want to. All those things are good, but it makes it too complicated. Keep it simple. And so I'm going to give you some practical tips about keeping it simple and not making it so complicated. And here's the biggest one. To accomplish not making it complicated and making it simple, just listen. Okay, let's all practice listening right now. Okay, it's not real hard. Ready, go. There you go. You just practiced joining Jesus on his mission. Good job. And you've been listening already for 20 minutes. See, so anyone can listen. Matter of fact, I guarantee you, the people that Jesus has put in your life around you need you to listen. I guarantee it. Statistically, right now Americans spend an average of 20 minutes a day in person with our friends, connecting, talking, listening. 20 minutes. That's not a long time. Americans are more lonely than ever. There's an 81-page report that just came out in May from the Surgeon General saying that as Americans, we are more lonely than ever. And there's this epidemic of loneliness coming that's actually more dangerous than smoking and the deaths that it has caused. There's a whole study about how lonely people are. The people in your life need someone to talk to. Can that be you? Yes, it can. I'm going to give you 4 easy questions to ask when it comes to listening. So take some notes, write these down, practice this. This is good. It means you love people, you're interested, you love Jesus, you want to be on his mission. And they're not going to be on the screen, so you got to listen carefully and then write them down. Number 1, ask a person their name. Now, this does not apply to my neighbor. I know my neighbor, Steve. I know my dry cleaner, Sonny, but I don't know everybody's name. When you do know their name, use their name. Okay, I have a good friend who we go anywhere out where there's a cashier. We go to a hotel and we're staying there for a conference. We go to a game and there's a person at a concession stand. And he'll look at that person's name tag and then address that person by name. Hey, Susie, thanks for the hot dogs. Those are awesome. You're doing a great job, Susie. And this is unbelievable to me, but most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, the people are like, huh, how did you know my name? I'm serious. Try this. They don't remember they have a name tag on. Why? Because no one calls them by what's on their name tag. People don't stop and care. So they're just, or they know their name, but you care enough to address them personally. So when you're at Target, and you're checking out, and the cashier's name says Jimbo, say, thanks, Jimbo. You're an awesome Target cashier. Keep it awesome, man. All right, sorry, that might have been too much. That was talking. You weren't listening. So ask a person's name. And so if you know it, great. If it's on their name tag, easy, low-hanging fruit. If you don't know their name, all right, now you're at soccer practice, and you sit next to another soccer mom. She's new on the team. You don't really know her. Hi, I'm Maria. What's your name? And if you're an introvert, I'll make it easier for you. Hi, I'm Maria. You don't even have to ask her name. She'll probably tell you if you just say, hi, I'm Maria. Hi, I'm Darren, right? Hi, I'm Darren. What's your name? Okay, so it starts by asking someone their name or knowing their name. Very simple. Second question, very powerful question. Here we go. Write this down. How's your day going? Not how are you. How are you is slang and colloquial, and it's so common. It's kind of a substitute for hey. Right? We don't feel obligated to answer it. You're not looking for an answer often when you ask that question, so avoid that question. How's your day going? Who can answer that question when you ask that question? It could be 5:30 in the morning at the gym. It could be 5:30 p.m. at soccer practice. What percentage of people can answer that question? 100%. Because everyone's day is going somehow, some way, good, bad, and right. So how's your day going? What does it do? It shows you care. It shows you're going to linger a little bit. You're opening the conversation. And again, you're not talking, you're listening. Very easy. Believe me, people will tell you how their day is going, especially if you're giving body vibes that you're actually interested in them answering that question. What's your name? How's your day going? Hey, Jimbo, Target cashier guy. Thanks, you're an awesome cashier today. How's your day going, man? Wow. All right. Next question. Especially if this may not work with the cashier, I have to move along, but other people that you can linger, your neighbor, your mom at soccer practice, okay? What's your name? How's your day going? And once they tell you about how their day is going, question number 3. Can I pray about that? Boom. Prayer is so non-threatening, so universal, even atheists appreciate your prayers. I've never had a person say, no, I don't want you. I do not give you permission to pray about that. Every single time I've asked someone, wow, thanks, sure. Right, can I pray about that for you? Again, let them, all right. Question number 4, now your follow-up. So now you're back at soccer practice the next week, and the new mom is there again, and you've introduced yourself. You know her name. You know, she said, yeah, you can pray about my uncle in Canada who's been diagnosed with cancer. So the next week, you see her again. You greet her by name, and what do you ask? How's your uncle in Canada doing? I've been praying about him. Wow, that's meaningful. Again, none of this is a project. None of this is sales and marketing. Because you love Jesus and you love that person and you care about them. I'm just giving you steps to show you care. All right, this is number 5 now. I'm sorry for this. This is not a question anymore, so now you got to really get out of your comfort zone. But you can memorize this. It's really easy. It's really short. And this is the 5th thing that you do. After you say, how's your uncle in Canada? And she says it. Here's what you say. Jesus is up to something. You don't have to know what it is. You probably don't know everything that it is. That's okay. No Bible verses, no creeds. It's kind of this open-ended, connective statement that makes the person curious about Jesus. And they trust you that you're close to Jesus. I bet Jesus is up to something. Or another way you can say it is, man, Jesus is really messing with your uncle. If the person has a sense of humor and they're at a point where they can handle that, right? Jesus is in this. And then just let them think about that for another week. Let them and you can think about it and pray for it. And maybe maybe they'll reveal something, but what a great way. And all of it is listening except the 5th part, which is a statement. But you can remember, Jesus is up to something. That's it. So easy, not complicated, and a great way to talk to people no matter who they are, whether they're at Starbucks or they're your neighbors. All right, I'm going to close with this. Imagine that you are, here's a person who needs Jesus, right here. This is this person. And here's you and me. We're way over here on the outside the stage. Okay. There's 100 steps between us, okay? This moment right here is when they come to believe in Jesus for the first time. Okay? This is when they come to believe. It's for the first time they believe in Jesus. And then that's where they are right now. So where are you going to meet them? Are you going to stand right over here and say, hurry up, y'all, come on, get here now? Where do you go? You meet them where they're at right here. Hi, I'm Darren. What's your name? How's your day going? Can I pray about that for you? How's your uncle in Canada? This step right here is just as important as this step right here. Without that step right there, that step wouldn't happen because there's steps along the way. So don't make it so complicated. There might be a person who's there, that's great. But this step right here. So who in your life is here? And what do they need from you? Do they need someone who can finally convince them that they're really not that alone anymore? Do they need some courage and confidence because they've been going through a tough time? Do they need someone who's going to see them for who they really are? I don't know. Could be any of those things. I don't know, and maybe you don't know. But they'll tell you if you'll listen. Join Jesus on his mission. Amen.